Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Normally, on a show like this, normally we talk about the wide world of sports, but given the nature of what has happened yesterday, since it's 1:01 in the morning on the West Coast here, given the decision that the United States Supreme Court has overturned something that was been in place for 53 years, Mizzle and I decided to, well, you know what? We're angry, we're upset, but at the same time, we're not a woman. Tupac Shakur said it best in 1993 when he said, we got our name from a woman, got our game from a woman, we were made by a woman. This is a subject that we really can't speak on because we're not a woman. So thus, we have a very special guest joining us on the show, my dear friend, who she was the first person that came to mind when me and Mizzle decided to do a show like this. So, Kaya Kelly, we thank you again for joining us, because I know how passionate you are when it comes to certain subjects.
Most definitely.
First and foremost, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another. This is a very unique edition of the Mizzle Dub Show, and I'm just telling you right now, this is not for the weak in heart. So normally, me and Mizzle bring a lot of passion about sports. Well, tonight, or should I say, in this early morning hours of June the 25th, 2022, you may hear a lot of passion about a lot of particular things in regarding to women's rights and just the anatomy of a woman.
Let me stop.
Mizzle,
stop you right there.
I'll let you...
They don't have rights no more. It's been stricken. They can't. How hard they fought to speak and to their voice to be heard, and you take it away. 53 years. This has been in what you can do, what a woman can do with her body. Listen to that, her body. Go ahead. Yeah, this.
I'm so sorry. First of all, I really want to say thank you so much for allowing me to step on your platform and talk about something super serious like women's rights. So I just want to say thank you again, because it does take a very secure person or secure man to sit there and let a woman talk about things that are inherently happening to us and that have set us back further in 2022 than any other year, really. So like you were saying, yeah, like it's been 50 years of this precedent that has just been overturned. But I think before we get into that, I think it's more important to sit there and talk about why Roe v. Wade is important, or what does it mean that the government overturned it, right? Because I don't think that I think that if we're going to talk about the subject, we have to talk about from the very beginning, right? So basically, Roe v. Wade gives each state it gives each state the choice or the right to sit there and have abortion laws into place. Sorry, I had to read my notes real quick. It basically gives each state the rights to have their abortion laws into state, right? So overturning this amendment puts other amendments at risk, like the right for equal marriage. So what is that? So to me, my question is like, what does that mean for other amendments that are now at risk because of the overturning of Roe v. Wade?
Yeah, it's a bigger picture than what the abortion part they're thinking about. You're absolutely right. And please continue.
Yeah, no, definitely. And thank you again. But another thing is just like, another amendment that we have is the right for contraceptives. So is that at risk too?
Talk to them.
You see what I'm saying? Like, There's a lot of things that are at risk because of the overturning of Roe v. Wade.
Yeah.
And tonight we're like really gonna get into them. So one of the things that I want to talk about today is trigger states. So trigger states are basically after Roe v. Wade was overturned, these are the states that effectively are going into anti-abortion laws. So there are 13 states. So the 13 states are Arkansas, Idaho, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, Missouri, North and South Dakota, Oklahoma, Utah, Wyoming, and unfortunately, my home state, Texas.
Red states.
Correct. Arkansas already.
Not only red states, but where? Mid to south states. I digress. Go ahead. Continue.
If Arkansas already has canceled all abortions, like their governor has completely ceased all abortions.
Wow.
Right.
Which just happens to be the state my grandmother was born in.
Wow.
So if we're going back into like a historical term, you know, Black women, Black and brown, especially Black women, have been medical tools, have been medical experiments our whole lives, their whole lives.
Come on, preach to them.
You see what I'm saying? So it's like, this is, how are we any better off then than we are now? Because it's pushing women to have to take extreme measures to make a choice that should be theirs, regardless of any situation that they are placed in.
Yeah. Texas
just had a 19-child killing spree. 19 children are dead a month ago,
Texas.
yesterday.
In Uvalde, yes.
Hold up. 19 kids are missing, are no longer here, cannot wake up to see their mother and their father at all. You are forcing women to have children, but can't protect them. Make it make sense.
Come on now.
How do guns have more rights than women?
Come on now. Come on.
Not to mention, most of those kids that got killed.
You are free to carry, but you're being forced to carry.
Come on now.
Are you serious? And that's my home state.
Oh.
And as somebody that's born from somebody that's born from Dallas, Texas, like, I'm so appalled at my home state right now. I am appalled, and I am so sad to be from Texas, to be a woman, and especially a woman of color. Because we all know what neighborhoods it's going to impact versus other neighborhoods that will not be impacted, like others.
Yeah. Facts. Wow.
You know?
Wow. I appreciate you what you're saying right there, because that's all true. And not to think about what they've done with this. Now, I didn't want to kind of dial into it, but this is what we're going to have to talk about. Let's just talk about what they take away from a woman if she's raped and the rapist does not wear protection and she gets pregnant. So now you mean to tell me not only does she have to live with that, but with the outcome of that. Now,
you know what? And you know what? There was a female governor, and I can't remember who, and I wish I could remember who right now, but I can't for the life of me. Maybe one of your followers or watchers can plug in the name somewhere. But she said that when that particular point was brought up, she said that it would give women or girls or whoever the opportunity to become good mothers.
Excuse me? Excuse me? So not only do I have to live with the trauma, but excuse, I'm sorry. Wow.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's just so sad that that mentality in 2022 still exists.
I'm sorry. I really don't mean to say this, but what they just changed is you're going to see a lot of suicide is going to go up now. I'm sorry.
I mean,
I don't mean to say that, and what I mean by that, because now we already know mental things make you lead to suicide. So now,
right.
If certain things happen if a woman can't feel that she can't go do what she needs to do to make herself feel somewhat comfortable, because of course, I don't know, I'm like I said, I'm not a woman, and you could probably speak for this. If you abort a baby, it kind of, you have a feeling.
Well, the thing about abortion is it's just like people think that like rape or incest, which is 100% true, right? People do get raped, and people, unfortunately, there's a lot of evil people on this earth, right? Who should be fucking thrown away underneath a rock in the deepest sea of the earth. You know what I'm saying?
You ain't got no disagreement for me with that.
Right. So 100%. But what about women who, instead of wanting to bring a life that they cannot take care of?
There it is. That's
because, okay, let me give you a prime example. Are you a hip hop head?
Hip hop head? Oh, I love hip hop.
Perfect. Okay, so did you watch the documentary, Kanye West's documentary Genius?
On Netflix?
Yes.
I did not.
Okay, so let me give you just like a quick little spoiler, if that's okay. So in that documentary, Donda West, which is obviously his mother, is very, very present in his life and the recordings, obviously. We can all agree who are Kanye fans or who have listened to Kanye, that the death of his mother truly impacted him, correct? Which is why, he went and, married the Kardashians, and anyway. So that's neither here nor there. But the point that I'm trying to get at is this. If a good mother can impact one of the biggest rappers ever and push him to be a billionaire baby, and that's a good mother, what effects does a bad mother have on that same child? So instead of not being able to take care of that child, why not have the option and the more responsible option of not being able to have that child if I cannot take care of that child? Why put a child through foster care when there have been thousands and thousands upon thousands of stories of children who are sometimes worse off in foster care?
And that's a crying shame.
Exactly. So again, why take away the option, the responsible and safe option of allowing a woman to do what she wants with her body? If she does not have the means to take care of a child, why are we forcing her to have a child? Simple, just facts. Let's not. I mean, again, we can talk about rape and incest, yes, but it's like let's just get there first.
Yeah.
If I cannot tell you what to do with, if I can't cut your shit off, why are you trying to cut my shit off? If I can't Lorena Bobbitt your ass, why are you trying to do that to me? Like that's stuff. I think the first step that people need to like grasp first is what makes you the right, what gives you the right to literally question what I should and shouldn't do. Because if it was like, okay, and you know what? I'm gonna play devil's advocate. I'm gonna play devil's advocate today. I hate playing devil's advocate, but I'm gonna do it today. Let's say it's really about the kids. Let's just out of a blue fucking moon say it's really about the kids. These people really give a fuck about these kids. If you really give a fuck about these kids, why don't you put that money in school funding? If you really give a fuck about kids, why don't you put money into after school programs? So people that look like you and people that look like me stay out of the state penitentiary. If it's really about the kids, why don't you offer free healthcare? If it's really about the kids, why don't you offer mothers more maternity leave? If it's really about the kids, though. No?
Okay. Fair statement.
Oh, okay. That's because I thought somebody that couldn't give birth said something. Fuck out of here, dude.
Talk about them 6 men that's wearing them coats.
But
like,
it's ironic.
Seriously.
It's very ironic to where when they do cuts, if you will, budget cuts, if you will, what's always the first to get cut the most?
Children.
Education.
Children.
I just thought to get in there.
Children. The children get cut off first. Everything.
Well, of course children get cut off first. But it's really about the kids though. But we really care about kids though. But we can't protect them, right? So what entices me to have a child? Let's see. You can't guarantee the protection of my child, right? Because God forbid they make it to fucking recess. Oh, okay, cool. Whatever. You can't guarantee that my kid doesn't get some type of education. If it's really about the kids, right? Why can't we as parents, and I'm not a parent, but parents, why can't parents choose where they want to put their child? Why does it have to be based by income? Because it's really about the kids and we want the best, citizens in society, correct? It's really about the kids though. If it's really about the kids, why can't every school have free lunch? If it's really about the kids, right?
Yeah, well, I'm a parent and I do everything in my will to make sure my kids are okay.
Right. But my thing is just like, again, as a woman, if I cannot financially provide for my child, and even if I could provide for my child, you can't guarantee that my kid's gonna freaking make it home for dinner.
Yeah.
And if I'm at work, because I'm a mom that works 2 jobs because I'm a single parent and this and that and da, and I'm just hoping and praying that my kid stays out of the street, but there's no funding for after school programs. So my kid stays in the street. Oh, okay. And then on top of that, what I'm saying? Some kids can even walk into a store and get a bag of Skittles wearing a hoodie and still get gunned down. But that's a different subject for a different day. So again, what entices me to want to have a kid that I can't take care of? Now, if you want to take care of a kid, Great. Do it. Awesome. That's amazing. And I'm so happy for the people that want to be parents because it's truly a blessing. It's truly a blessing to have a child, period. But as somebody who had very shitty parents, and emphasize on the shitty, because of my parents, I have been diagnosed with BPD, which is borderline personality disorder. Because of years of trauma, sexual abuse, mental abuse, and all this other stuff. So it's just like, again, my parents did not have, my mom should have swallowed me. Let's just put it that way. Like, seriously. Because if it was my choice, like, honestly, again, and I love the only thing that I will say is, like, I love my mom purely for the fact that she had me, right? But because I've been through so much in my life, if it was up to me and my mom had a choice, I would have told her not to have me. Because now I have a lifetime of things that I have to take medication for, and it's like hell. And that's because I had a bad parent. That's because my mom had no business having me. And if maybe she would have been in a more welcoming and like loving society, and who sits there and lets people do what they want with their bodies, maybe, just maybe, that would have happened. But because of that, no, like, she was miserable. And because she was miserable, my life was miserable. You see how that, and that's how generational curses keep going. And it all stems from letting women do what they want without society pressures. Period.
Wow.
Now, keep in mind, when she told me all this, because me and Kelly have had very long conversations where she's poured out her soul to me, per se. And the reaction you see on my face is pretty much the same reaction I had when she told me all this, because you're just like, what can you really say?
So, but it's the truth. And it's not that you know, I'm looking for anybody like, you know, when I tell people my story, like, you know, they dead look at me like, oh my God, like, what? Yeah, it's the truth. I am the product of very toxic parents who were with each other for 19 years. My dad used to beat my mom in front of me. My dad used to beat me. My dad was a fucking addict. My mom, you know, is a narcissist. I mean, it is what it is. It's like a plethora of things on top of things, right? And it all stems from, I mean, but from the very beginning, it just all stems from letting women do what they want to do with their bodies. My mom shouldn't have had me. I'm thankful that she had me, and I will always be thankful that she had me. I will always be thankful that that woman had me. Because of the fact that she had me, I get to sit here and talk to you guys about something that I'm very passionate about, right? Which is basic human rights. Basic. But at the end of the day, my mom should have had a loving and helping hand instead of one ridiculing her and judging her. And maybe she could have been a better parent to me. That's neither here or there, because I've done the work. I've gone through therapy. I, you know, am doing the things that I need to do to better myself. But at the end of the day, like I said, it's something that I will always have. I have borderline personality disorder. I have PTSD. I have been sexually abused since the age of 5, up until when I was 19 and I was raped. After I was raped, I became pregnant by my rapist, who was 32 years my senior. That makes him 53. Yeah. So it's people like me that need abortion rights, because this man raped me and got me pregnant, and I was 19. So it's people like me who need that. And there's people who don't have to have a sad story that also need that. That also should have that right. Period.
I'm so sorry. Oh, wow.
Thank you.
Ooh.
I appreciate it. I really do. Like I said, you know, I've gone to therapy. I tried medication for a while. There was a point where I was taking about 200 milligrams of antidepressants. I had to take mood stabilizers. Like, I had to do a lot, you know. And I'm so happy that I'm like in a better space than I've ever been. And I think that that's due to the fact that I've accepted things that have happened in my life that I used to sit there and like beat myself up about or blame myself or anything of that nature. You know what I'm saying? But now, because I've been doing the work, you know, I've been trying to just find true, like, peace. Does that make sense?
God bless you. God
Thank you.
bless you. I have a daughter. I have a daughter, and my goodness, I'm speechless. You're God bless you. Yes, that's that.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're a prime example of why. Yeah. I'm glad that we have this platform for you. I didn't expect that. I'm over here just shivering.
Oh, that's sweet. Thank you.
No woman should ever go through that. Ever.
No, ever. And you know what? And it's like the subject of consent. Like, you know, I've had like certain kind of conversations with people who kind of don't understand consent, which is crazy to me, because it's like, if you were to ask, you know, if you were to ask a straight guy to, you know, if you could stick a finger in his ass and he says no, well, then you know what consent means, don't you? I mean, I think that's kind of self-explanatory, don't you? When somebody says no, the answer is
no.
No. Oh, okay. So then people know what consent is.
Yeah. I appreciate you sharing your story on.
Thank you for allowing me to share it, you know.
I'm a mama's boy, so yeah.
Well, I love that, you know, and it's so funny because like I think that I'm like the product of it takes a village to raise a child. You know what I'm saying?
Agree.
I'm definitely, I feel like I'm definitely that. Like, though I didn't have like strong like parental figures in my life, like I don't know how to explain it. Like, the divine always really, really put like strong people in my life. Like, me and my godfather are extremely close. Like, that's like my dad, you know. And then I've always had like strong female like figures in my life. Like, you know, me and my bus driver when I was a kid, we were like so close. And then my English teacher when I was in high school, we were really close. You know, and it's just, she's actually the first person I smoked with, which was like the dopest thing ever. But that's a different story for a different day. But yeah, no, she was really, really dope. And, you know, I've always had like people in my life to kind of like fill those voids, though it will never fully be filled, because there's nothing like the parental bond is sacred.
Yeah.
It's sacred. So there will never be like anybody that I can really say like, oh, that's my mom or that's my dad. Like there will be people that are close, but definitely like never that. But all I can say, you know, I'm just so blessed. Like I really, really am. Like I'm at peace with a lot of things that have happened in my life. And if I'm not at peace, I'm getting there. If that makes sense.
Total.
Mm-hmm.
Salute. Wow.
Thank you.
And we preach about passion on our shows, don't we? And well, not only did we just get like I said, I'm speechless, but that was a lot. Man, I didn't expect that.
Well, for me, this is, like I said, this is nothing new to me, because like I said, she has poured this into me on many occasions, to the point where she's literally was crying while telling me this. So
yeah, no, definitely.
I had to wipe away.
Oh.
No, that's. I mean, like he said, my brother said that what Tupac said about his mama and a woman. I mean, I love everything.
I mean, Malcolm X said it best. You know, the most disrespected woman is the Black woman. You know what I'm saying? So, and as a half Black, half Indigenous person, my parents are Afro-Latin. So as that, you know, that definitely, it definitely shows, you know, today or yesterday, you know, on how disrespected women are. Because again, you know, it's going to affect certain neighborhoods more than others. And I think we all know what neighborhoods I'm talking about.
Yeah, you ain't gotta, yeah.
So.
So here's my question.
Okay.
What must be done, or what needs to be done?
I'm so glad that you asked that. Okay, so going on to some things that are being done. So first of all, I want to talk about the 15 states that are still going on with abortions. So let's just get into that. There's 15 states and 1 district. So the 15 states are California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Hawaii, Illinois, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Nevada, New Jersey, New York, Oregon, Rhode Island, Vermont, and the district is Washington, D.C. So those 15 states and that district is definitely, or are definitely still doing, or going on with abortions currently.
What's the common denominator of those? The common denominator is most of those states
Democrats
are on the coasts by water.
So, right. So,
with the exception of DC.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The California governor has signed a bill declaring that California will stay a safe haven for women. So shout out to
Gavin.
Oh my God, Gavin Newton. Yeah, so Gavin Newton, shout out to him, you know, for continuing to fight with women, for women, you know. So companies that are willing to pay for travel expenses for their employees to be able to have an abortion is Disney, JP Morgan, Netflix, and Dick's Sporting Goods. Hashtag Big Dick Energy.
There we go.
That is Big Dick Energy, guys. That is Big Dick Energy. Lizzo, shout out to Lizzo, because Lizzo has committed to $500,000 to Planned Parenthood, and Live Nation actually decided that they were going to match her, so that is equaling out to $1 million
Awesome.
for Planned Parenthood. So shout out to them. Let's see what else. I think that's all of the new. Oh. Lastly, I do not want to see anybody celebrating the 4th of July. No one. Why are we celebrating the continuous failure of its people?
That's a very interesting question. That's a solid question that I have no answer to.
So I don't want to see nobody post no fireworks, no party like it's 1766.
I'll be at work.
1776.
I'll be
1776. See, I don't even know.
I'll be at work, so there ain't too much celebrating going on around these parts.
I'll be watching baseball. That's about the
I'm
only
gonna
thing
be
I'll be
building
doing.
my bed. I'm getting a new bed. I'm excited. Oh, yeah.
Well,
And lastly, I think, and like in conclusion, not lastly because I already said that, but in conclusion, I'm wearing my faith shirt today because I think that right now we just all need to have faith that things are going to work out the way that they need to work out.
well, the good
That
thing,
and a whole lot of prayer.
well, most definitely. Well, good thing is that you already see certain states, they're already, as you said earlier, that they're fighting for women. So it's just gonna take a lot of, I don't know, because just how fast it's just overturned, that lets you know that this has been happening and been discussed for a long time.
Oh yeah, like they're saying like since like Trump was in office, like Mitch McConnell kind of thing.
Wow.
So
Well,
it's been in progress for a while. It's just sad.
Yeah.
Because Martin Luther King, also talking about 50 years ago, Martin Luther King said in, what year was it? I wrote it down. He said in, I think it was 1963. He said in 1963, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. So again, going back on what other amendments are at risk now. The right to get married to who you love, the right to contraceptives like Plan B and birth control.
I saw that on Twitter. I saw a lot of things. Same-sex marriages,
Right.
a whole lot of things is about to change with just this little. So it's a domino is about to start happening. I guess there will be more shows.
Right.
It's not funny, but it's more coming with just this overturn of things. It's crazy.
well,
No, second.
you heard the quote that Maxine Walters said earlier today or earlier yesterday, and I quote, "The hell with the Supreme Court." End quote.
Right. Facts. Hashtag Auntie Maxine Waters.
Yeah.
She's so cute.
I mean, I really, really can't speak on that because, I mean, if it wasn't for Granny, my ass wouldn't exist because Granny gave birth to Mama. And if it wasn't for Mama, my ass damn sure wouldn't be here. And being the fact that I have shared the pain of what it's like to be a fatherless child. But, you know, as my mom said, yeah, it was a mistake, but if I had to do it all over again, I wouldn't be able to have you.
Right.
So
And shout out
it's
to your mom.
it's a double-edged sword because, again, as I said in the beginning, I am not for killing a baby. I'm not. But at the same time, I am not for me telling a woman what to do with herself. That's like saying,
Right.
you know what, man? Why don't you get pregnant and why don't you give birth out your dick hole and see how that feels?
Exactly. Well, you know, and it's just like
That
and you know, people have the right to sit there and believe in whatever they want to believe, you know. But we also live in a country where if you can believe whatever it is you want to believe, that's great. That doesn't necessarily mean that I have to believe that. So just because there's certain passages in a certain book that say certain things doesn't necessarily mean that I have to believe that. Not saying that I don't, but what I'm saying is that's the beauty about living in this country, is that we have the right to sit there and practice whatever it is that we want to practice, right?
Correct.
So using that,
you would think anyway.
right, exactly. So exactly.
Because I mean, sometimes you really have to ask yourself, do we really have that right?
Well,
apparently today we don't.
Freedom of speech, but you can't say what you want to say. So
I mean, you have freedom of speech, and that's another thing that's I feel like is a misconception. Like you have freedom of speech, of course, you have freedom, but can you say bomb on a plane?
mm-mm.
Oh, okay,
No.
so it's not that free, is it?
Yeah.
So, you know, it's just like, again, it's just crazy how it's just crazy how this is all just, you know, kind of falling into place. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just insane.
Yeah. Wow. I don't know how to follow up anything that was just spoken this morning. It was.
Well, to quote a wrestling term, that was a pipe bomb, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
That's exactly what that was.
Yeah. And this is what me and him wanted to do. We wanted to do our sports. We wanted to talk our sports, but we also wanted to be involved with what goes on in the world evolving around us. And this is serious. This kind of hits home to what just happened, because I believe in women's rights. I believe.
Exactly. And, you know, as we were talking earlier, you said you have children, right?
Yes.
If somebody wanted to take that right away from them, and something were to happen to them, not God forbid that it does.
Yeah.
But if something were to happen to one of your children, not having the right to take care of it,
100%.
simply because what lies between her legs is not fair. Because if we're going to do that, then I feel like baby boys should have reversible vasectomies. And then when you're ready to be a parent, because they are reversible, you can do that. Or if you're taking away the right to have abortions, then birth control and Plan B should be free. Either or. Because you don't get to sit there and take away, my right to bear a child and then like still charge me like $65 for a pill. What?
Well, those should be gone then, right? There should be no more of those. If this is what's going on with this overturn.
That's what I was telling you. That's the risk that the other amendments have. The amendment to sit there and same-sex marriage, that's one amendment.
Yeah.
The other amendment is contraceptives, which is Plan B and birth control.
Yeah, yes, you did mention that. This is correct.
What?
You gotta turn all this stuff off. You got this.
But you're absolutely correct. That was spoken earlier, and yeah, that's just absolutely wow. Just absolutely wow.
Mm-hmm. And again, it's just like it's a sad day to be a woman, a sad day to be an American woman, and a sad day to be a woman of color.
Yeah. It's sad
and
when
I'm all three of those. So that's like triple the sadness. That's like sadness cubed.
and it's sad when you turn the television on and you see sports athletes just on Twitter just apologizing, just saying sorry to women. That's crazy. And how you not understand that and see that? It's
right, because again, it's just it is appalling that you would try to force somebody to eject something out of their body that they don't want there. And then now you're responsible for the thing that you ejected. It's like, okay, let me give you an example, right? It's like you passing a kidney stone. So that's painful, right? You passing a kidney stone, and then the doctor tells you, guess what? That kidney stone is like yours forever. And that kidney stone, you know what I'm saying? Like, dude, really? Like, I didn't. Again, it's just like the forcing of someone to have one of the biggest responsibilities, which is raise a child, have a child, take care of the child, make sure the child, is a great member of society type stuff, when I don't have the means to do that though. And then it's like, if I do have this kid and I reach out for help, like, are y'all gonna help me?
Ding, 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 ding.
Or if I do have this child, is my kid gonna come home because, some 18-year-old who had signs that he wanted to shoot up a school decided to go crazy one day? Like, so again, it's like, why bring a kid into this world if this world is just evil? And that's one thing. Like, if you want to bring a kid into this world, great, but like, don't force me to. Have you ever had somebody force you to, like, I don't know, wear a sweater that you don't like? You know how uncomfortable that is? Like, damn, like, leave me alone. I don't want to wear the sweater. Like, fuck. Now imagine a fucking kid. Have you ever had somebody force a plate of food on you that you didn't want? Okay, so if that's uncomfortable, like, if that puts people on, if that makes people uncomfortable, like, how much more is having a kid that you're not prepared for or don't want? Like, again,
Agreed. Agreed.
As I
So-
said earlier on my post, I simply just said, ladies, I love y'all. And I'm sorry the government doesn't value you.
right.
And that's
It's
just
just
as
sad.
plain. That is as plain as I can put it. Because
Basically.
you think
It's
about
very
you think
sad.
about how you think about how women couldn't even vote until 1920, and then Black women couldn't even vote
Some
until
women,
1965.
okay, there we go. Mm-hmm.
That's but to say, hear me first. Don't shoot me.
Mm-hmm. Sorry.
But I mean, literally, it had to take literally 45 years after the first part until Black women were counted until 1965.
Mm-hmm.
That's just appalling to me.
Mm-hmm.
But here we are.
But here we
50+ years
are,
later,
and
still
somehow
having,
we have, like, worse rights than our ancestors.
Wow, does that do? Yeah, I don't know. I'm just 100% speechless.
I mean, again, like, what, you know, when this country was founded, right? Women were forced to have children to repopulate, to sell, to whatever, right? What difference is it now if we're still being forced to have children? Like, we're still being forced to have children, and now that these states, because there's only 15 states out of 50, that leaves what, like 37, 35 around their states
something around that area. Yeah.
in the 30s. Okay, let's just say in the 30s, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
15 states out of 50.
It's 40 plus 5. It's 35. Yeah, 35. 35.
Okay, I was close. 37, 35, around there. Okay, so 35. That's 35 states, right? So so now you have to think of something like this, right? The average abortion costs $750. Okay. Now that there's only 15 states that offer that procedure, how much more expensive is it going to be?
Thousands.
You think? And if you look up abortion laws, because abortion laws obviously are now up to their individual state. So there's some abortion laws that, sorry, my
Oh, you know what? That was a brief commercial. You promoted yourself. Perfect.
It's being weird. Do you edit all of it? Or do you just put it up like live stream?
Excuse me?
I said, do you edit or do you just like put it up like a live stream?
Oh no, what we do now, you're
just gonna put it up like a live stream?
Yep, there's just as a live stream. What goes on is what we talk about is
Okay, great.
what we're doing.
Okay, hold on. Sorry, I'm just trying to balance everything. Okay.
Oh, that's okay.
No edit, no filter.
This is just the process of getting to hopefully being to where we can edit and be in the studio.
No, I was just asking because some people do like little breaks in between. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know.
When we say,
I'm just like, whatever.
When we say our final go, they're gonna see from start to when it says good night or good morning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, what were we talking about? I don't know. But regardless on the subject, it's crazy. And I can't believe that actually happened.
Yeah, I didn't think that
this year is so ghetto.
Every
year, like after the fucking pandemic has been more ghetto than the next.
So yeah, like, are you shocked at anything that happens a year after? So whatever 23 is gonna bring, I'm gonna be like, okay.
Right. Like,
I'm not shocked.
crazy.
I'm not gonna be shocked at anything the government does anymore now.
Gas is $5.
Five?
Fucking, mm-hmm.
The Vegas people, y'all spending $5?
Yeah.
We're not.
I would like to know what $5 is. I would like to know what
I was just saying, like, gas is $5. Fucking abortions are illegal.
Less.
Fucking, it's just craziness. Like, oh my god.
And I'm gonna tell you,
are we ready for the rapture yet, or what?
No. But I'll tell you what, 4th of July weekend, don't be shocked if gas is about around $7.
Probably.
4th of July weekend, don't be shocked. Well, y'all live in Vegas, so.
But I don't know, like, I didn't understand why people were shocked that gas prices went up. How else were we supposed to, like, stimulate the economy?
Well, I'm sorry, they could have did anything else but gas.
I mean, but that's the quickest way to do it besides weed.
Hit the food. The food is the
food has gone up too. Everything's gone up.
Yeah, milk it.
Fucking baby formula shortages. Oh my god, crazy. How are you supposed to have a kid?
There you go.
Shortages. Did anybody consult that part?
The circle just came back around. The circle just came.
Fucking dumbass motherfuckers. Like, oh, I can't stand people.
There it is.
Oh, I gotta stop yelling because my god sister's sleeping. But anywho, how are you supposed to feed the kid? How are you supposed to feed the kid? There's no fucking baby formula.
That is the truth.
I'm gonna tell you to breastfeed it. Some women can't breastfeed. But they wouldn't. Oh my god. Ugh. So annoying. It's like some of these people, like, I'm like, have y'all even been around a woman? Because clearly y'all are dumb as fuck. Oh, excuse me. Oh, it fell. I'm sorry. Get it.
We love our live moments on the show.
I know, and it just like fell.
It's great.
Because I'm using this like weird little stand thingy, so it's like doing the absolute.
But what an awesome subject. What a great way to talk about it. I'm glad that my brother was able to talk to you, reach out to you, and to come on the show and just share your story and your opinions and everything. I mean, wow, you floored me. Like, I don't too much get into my emotional self, but that your story was very, very, very touching. And just like I said earlier, bless you. And thank you
Thank
for
you so much. I really do appreciate it. And thank you for having me, because again, I know that this isn't a subject that a lot of people want to discuss. You know, a lot of people try to stay away from politics because of XYZ thing, you know. So the fact that, you know, you guys decided to sit there and like talk about something serious on a sports podcast show, on top of the fact of opening up the forum for me to sit there and like discuss again things that I am passionate about, like again basic human rights. So I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
The motto that we always say when we end the show is, if there's any subject you want us to touch on, talk about, it's more than just sports, because it's life, and then in life around,
most definitely
evolves around sports. And if we can just touch anybody else with this subject, just to reach out and just, I don't know, when I heard about it, I just felt like that I had to just say something, or just, like I said, I reached out to my brother and I was like, hey, we got to do something tonight. And I don't care how we did it. And he was like, well, we need a woman's perspective. And I was like, well, I didn't know who at the time to think about and ask. And I was like, well, when I come home, my wife is going to be asleep, so she won't be a special guest. But he was like, well, he instantly got on the phone. And so thank you. Thank you.
No, again, thank you for having me, because again, this is not an easy subject to talk about. Because if it was easy, everybody would be talking about it in a positive way, I feel. So again, thank you for opening up your platform to welcome little old me.
Now, it's funny you just mentioned 4th of July, and here's just something I'm just now reading. Now, it's funny how you mentioned Arizona being one of those states. Well, supposedly, the city of Phoenix, Chandler, and Tempe will not be lighting fireworks on America's birthday. Just want to point that out.
Now here we go. You speak it, it happens. Isn't that something? So somebody is following that cab, as we will say in Domino's.
Good, because again, what is there to celebrate? Like, what is there to celebrate? They keep failing their people. America keeps failing its people. Like, kids are dying, women are forced to have children, Black people, I don't know, still are getting gunned down in the street. Lynching just became a federal crime not too long ago. Shall I continue? Like, fucking taxes are ridiculous. The poor keep getting poorer. The richer keep getting richer. Like, I mean, it's fucking insane, dude. If it's really about people, and if it's really about love, and it's really about unity, and it's really about this, then show it. But that's the thing, it's just all bullshit. It's all bullshit, because if you really, really want to change, and if you really want to see the fucking world change, then you have to be a part of the change. But how is this being a part of the change? How is setting women backwards a part of this change? It's just not. It's ludicrous. It doesn't make sense. It does not make sense. So it's just like, again, how? How, Sway?
Yeah.
And again, this doesn't include the women who want to be mothers. This is not including them. Like, I'm happy you want to be a mom. Like, great. But you shouldn't have to be forced to be a mother. There's a difference.
That's the whole subject. Not taken away from, like you said, women that wants to be mothers, and someone that wants to have a child, but the ones that should have the opportunity to say, hey,
this isn't for me.
Thank you. Yeah,
this isn't for me. Like, this isn't for me. Okay, great.
let me do what's best for me. This is what's best for me.
Exactly. 100%. And I completely agree because, again, like, men are not forced to do things that they don't want to do. It seems like, you see what I'm saying? So it's like, if I cannot tell a man to get a vasectomy, excuse me, to get a vasectomy at birth, that's just like the equivalent. Like, that's the equivalent of like rallying up everybody and being like, I think that all men should get vasectomies. It's not my place. I'm not a man. How am I supposed to, how am I going to tell a man what to do, right? But the only reason that I'm saying that is like, okay, great. Like, if you want to take away the right for women to have abortions, then that's fine. But if we're talking about equality, I feel like equally men should get vasectomies. They're reversible. No? Oh. Why? Why if they're reversible? That's what I don't understand. It doesn't make sense, right? Okay, so why would it make sense for a man who has no idea what it's like to be a woman, who has no idea what it's like to be sexualized, who has, without them wanting to, who has no idea what it's like to sit there and be put in awkward situations. Men never have to sit there and be scared to walk at night. Men never have to sit there and be intimidated by XYZ person. Like, men don't have to do that. So imagine me telling somebody that I could never, ever, ever understand their struggle, what they should do. Imagine the fuck out of that.
I don't want it.
Like, if we're gonna take it to a different level, let's take it to a racial one. So imagine a person who has privilege telling a person who doesn't have privilege how they should get over the fact of their non-privileged selves. It doesn't make sense, does it? Because that person will never understand what it's like to struggle for real, for real. Just like men will never understand what it's like to be women for real, for real. You can empathize, that's great. You can empathize, and that's amazing. But you will never be able to understand what women go through on a daily basis. All women, to sit there and have these unrealistic beauty standards, to sit there and have, you know, what we can and cannot do with our bodies, to sit there and be sexualized when we don't want to be, to sit there and have to fucking have mace in your car, to sit there and do XYZ thing. Like, dude, come on. Like, y'all don't have to do that. And I'm so happy for y'all because, like, understand this. I can maybe speak for every woman when I say that any woman that has been in that situation will never wish that on their worst enemy. Yeah. Because it is the shittiest thing ever. It's so shitty.
Agreed.
I would never wish what I've been through on other people. Never. Because the things that I have to deal with on a daily basis, I have PTSD. I have really, really bad PTSD. I only get 4 hours of sleep nightly.
Whoa, yeah, that's a
yeah, I only get 4 hours of sleep nightly. I sit there and I smoke marijuana because when I told you that I was on 200 milligrams of antidepressants, and the side effects of those antidepressants, you know, had me like all over the place. Like, I would sweat, my fucking cholesterol was high, I had to take a pill for that, you know, then my blood pressure was too low, I had to take a pill for that. Dude, seriously? No, I'm not doing that shit.
Sound like the commercials.
Right, exactly. All for, you know, I don't know, a hangnail. You have a fucking hangnail. You have fucking a million other things, and now you have cancer. Like, what the fuck? Are you serious? Like, that's the equivalent. So I was just like, no, I can't do that. So, you know, I started smoking. You know, I've smoked on and off my whole life, but I really started like smoking just cannabis, like, and finding the right combinations for myself, you know. And there's just like other things that I've done. Like I said, I've gone to therapy. I write a lot. I try to put all of my frustration and all of my anger, and I try to turn that into positive energy or even like creative energy. And I try to, you know, do projects and do things that just really feed my soul. And I think at the end of the day, that's what people need to do, is they need to find things that really feed their soul. Because there's so many unhappy people on this earth, which drive them to do stupid shit like, I don't know, overturn Roe v. Wade.
And with
You know
that
what I'm saying?
right there, bam.
Yeah, most definitely. Like I said, people need to feed their soul. Like, really, people need to find happiness, because a lot of people think that, you know, if I get this, I'll be like, no, happiness comes from within. Happiness comes from within. And a lot of people try to sit there and like fill certain voids to be happy, and it's just like, it will never be filled until you do the work. And it sucks. Oh, trust me, it sucks. Doing mental work sucks because it is a lifetime thing. We are human beings. We are always forever evolving as people. Are you the same? How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
Me?
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm 39.
Okay, you're 39. Do you have the same views that you had when you were 12?
Nah.
Right, because that means that you grew as a person. That means you evolved.
But
Correct?
I still tell people I'm a 12-year-old with a license, though. I'm still a kid by heart.
But you know what I meant, though.
I take on my responsibilities. I do what I have to do. I
Mhm.
make sure I try to be the best parent that I can be, but I still have my moments to where I am a kid, to where it's like, I still love my cartoons. I love my anime. I love my sports and stuff like that, but I make sure home is taken care of. But yeah.
But see, but there's a difference, right? So like when you were 12, all you cared about were like cartoons and sports, right? But now that you're 39, almost 40, you have responsibility. That's evolving as a person. That's growing. That's, oh my God, I'm 39.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't. Yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You're
So
right.
again, right. So again, like we're always evolving as people. So if we're always evolving as people, that means that like certain things, you know, as we evolve, like certain interests or certain, you have the right to update your interests, your hobbies, things that you like, things that make you happy, things that bring you peace. Oh my God, I can't stress that enough. Things that bring you peace. Like if you are not at peace, you have nothing. And I think that's definitely something that I struggled with, and I still do. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. Like, there are days that I still struggle with being at peace with certain things that, again, have happened in my life that, um, that I will never like truly have. Like, for example, I will never truly have a mother figure, like a true like mother figure, because my mom and I, unfortunately, we are just non-compatible. Like my mom is, you know, one of the reasons why I was raped. She actually ended up setting me up. That's a different story though. And it's just been turbulent ever since. So
Yeah,
my mom and I, we don't have a relationship, unfortunately. Fortunately for me, because I would rather not have a relationship with somebody who is so toxic or and like not be happy. Like if I were to have a relationship with her, like I would jeopardize my happiness that I've worked really, really hard to keep. Because there was a point in time, because unfortunately people with BPD, which is borderline personality disorder, and it's basically like you can either be born with it or your environment can cause it. And mine was definitely environmental.
Yeah.
Like I said, I grew up in a very extremely violent household. Emphasize on the extremely violent, like my grandfather tried to kill my dad with a machete in front of me when I was 6. Yeah.
No.
My cousins have been, 2 of my cousins have been killed by the cartel. One was gunned down execution style, basically in the middle of the street. One of my other cousins was gunned down and delivered on his mom's porch. So when I say violent, I come from a very violent background. And that was my communication for the longest time. Like when I was younger, I have a kid brother. I'm the only girl, which makes me kind of like a roughneck in a way. And I only have cousins that are boys. So I'm the only girl in my kind of like age group, you know, because I have cousins who are girls in different age groups, but like in my age group, I'm the only girl. So like, you know, when I say violent household, I mean like I put my little brother's head through a windshield when I was 12, 13. I gave him a concussion. I've done some pretty like, you know what, I'm gonna plead the fifth on that one, but I've done some crazy stuff, but that's stuff that it took me a while to be like, dude, this is not normal. And it's just like, when I tell people that, they kind of look at me like, how the fuck did you not know that? And it's just like, you know, when you sit there, when you see a fish, right, and it's swimming, you know that this fish is swimming in water, but does the fish know that it's swimming in water, or is it just swimming?
Yeah.
So when you grow up in a violent household like I grew up in, your survival skills are they're like exploited at a very young age. So my flight or fight responses are completely abnormal, which is why I have a personality disorder. Because borderline personality disorder, that's basically what it is. It's like, I cannot regulate my emotions correctly because I was never taught how. I grew up in an extremely violent household until my dad died in front of me. I was 15, 16. My dad passed away, and then my mom decided to make me head of household at 16. And I paid for absolutely everything. I paid, I hustled, I did things that I'm not proud of, but I survived. I survived. And if that's what I had to do to survive, I will do it over again. So again, I've been in so many situations. Huh?
I said that you still live to tell your story.
You know, and it's crazy because there was a time, I'm 30 now. I started, when I was 29, I was gonna commit suicide. So unfortunately, people who have DPD, only 6% of people globally or in the, yeah, globally will be like diagnosed with BPD, right? 10% of that 6% will kill themselves. So there was a point in time where I wanted to kill myself. And I wanted to kill myself because, you know, I was 29 and I felt like I constantly live in like a nightmare per se. Like some days are better than others, you know, because I'll have flashbacks. Like the way my memory works, because unfortunately, like what BPD is, it's you've seen, you know what's funny? He's wearing a Deadpool shirt, right? Are you wearing a Deadpool shirt?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So you're wearing a Deadpool shirt. So this is the perfect example that I can explain how my brain works. So you remember in the first Deadpool where he takes the medicine so he can mutate,
Yes.
right? So, and then what's his name? Jax says, if this won't do it, then nothing will, right? Okay, great. So my brain, because so in the movie he's exposed to like harsh environments that he's forced to mutate. That's how my brain is. So I was exposed to such harsh environments growing up that my brain mutated itself in order to protect myself. So there's a lot of things in my life that I do remember, but then there's a lot of things in my life that I don't remember. So the way my memory works, it's like watching like a home movie that's scratched or that skips. And then I will be out and about and like a smell will trigger a flashback and I'll have a panic attack. Or like a thought, a song, a smell, a color, something will trigger something to where I have a panic attack and I'm like, oh shit, I'm having a PTSD flashback right now. So living with that is so difficult because anything can set it off. Because I'm constantly like, I wake up and I constantly like every day, like I look at myself and I'm like, you know, something will remind me of something bad that, you know, I've been through, or it's just I'm like, unfortunately, like this is the best way to describe it. It's like there's just a part of me that's just a shell.
Yeah.
And like, who wants to live like that? So that's why 10% of the 6% of people with BPD will kill themselves. Because it's like at this point, you're just waiting to die. And I know that sounds morbid as fuck, but it's the truth. It's like you've lived so much, you've been through so much. It's like, what more can you go through? It's like you feel like you're 100 years old. So that feeling can either sit there and consume you, or you can take that feeling and like convert it into energy that feeds your soul. And that makes you happy. Because, you know, I sit there and I think to myself, my rapist was 52 when I was 19. I'm 31 now, about to be July 23rd. Leo season. Anyway, so that puts that at like almost 12 years ago, right? So he's in his 70s.
That's still like,
so my thing is, this man's life is done, and he has to answer to whomever he has to answer to.
we all know who.
My life, though, like my life is just beginning. So I can either wait another 40 years of misery, or fuck, I can sit there and try to make the best of it. And that's genuinely how I view life. I just try to make the best of everything, because if I sit there and I wallow and fester in whatever, and all the ugliness and all the unkindness that I've had in my life, it's gonna swallow me. And nobody wants to live like that. You know?
And
So again,
nobody should live like that.
facts. So
Right.
it's like anybody that
Yeah,
has
definitely.
been through, so anybody that has been through a sexual abuse, kind of domestic abuse, whatever kind of abuse kind of environment, you know what I'm saying? Anybody that's truly been through that will never wish that on anybody, because it's like the real repercussions that you have with it. So I would never wish what I have on anybody, like not even on my worst enemy, because it genuinely sucks. It genuinely sucks. Not being able to regulate your emotions correctly, not being able, because but BPD is the sister to bipolar disorder. The only difference is that bipolar disorder, like the mood swings, go like longer. So if you notice, Kanye West is just the perfect example for that. Kanye West obviously has bipolar disorder, and he goes on these like week-long rants, right? He
Yeah.
goes on to these like week-long Twitter rants. So basically, it's him not being able to regulate his emotions within a long period of time. Mine is the opposite. Well, it's similar, as in I can't regulate my emotions, but mine is in a shorter frame of time. So I will go through all of what Kanye West is going through in like a span of 3 days, and then burn and crash, and it's horrible. It's horrible. If I don't regulate it, and by regulate it I mean like meditate, I mean like, you know, smoke weed, because that's what keeps me calm. If I don't write in my journal, if I don't do positive things for myself, I will fester in it. You know, and when you fester in something, especially if you have depression, because that's one of my biggest things, I have really, really bad depression. So it's like when you sit there and you fester in something for long enough, like if you sit there and like I always praise people who can sit there and like work in like a farm or like a ranch or like a barn. I can't do it. The smell of barnyard animals, you know what I'm saying? The pigs, the hogs, the heifers, I can't do that shit. Like that's not for me. You know what I'm saying? That's just not a job for me. But you ask these people, how do you do that with the smell? And they're just like, what smell? Because when you've been sitting in shit long enough, you forget what it smells like.
Ooh, fair statement.
So when you've been festering in shit long enough, you're just like, you just get used to the smell. That's the same with depression. So it's like if you fester in it long enough, like you get so used to it and it just overtakes you. And it's not easy, because once these, you know, once depression hits, you know, once depression got a hold of you, got a hold of you. But though it's not easy, you know, I have to, at least for me, because I can only speak for myself, I have to sit there and do certain things to make sure that I don't spiral, because like I'm always like a little bit away of a spiral. It's just, unfortunately, that's just for the rest of my life, that's just the way it's going to be. You know, like when people joke about being the Joker in real life, like, no, bitch, I'm the Joker in real life, because my mom tortured me. My parents tortured me enough to where my brain had to literally mutate itself. So if anybody's the Joker in real life, and if anybody is Arthur Fleck, but it's what you choose to do
That
with
note,
it.
because I mean we can talk about this subject pretty much all freaking night. We may have to do a part 2 because this is some real intense stuff. But for now, we're just gonna conclude this part because there's a lot of stuff that was covered, a lot of stuff that was
Yes.
talked about. Again, me and my brother can't talk about what a woman goes through, but you can. And for that,
Mhm.
we thank you for coming on the show and just
Well,
telling us,
thank you so much for
basically,
having me.
basically in a sense, giving us your life story.
Yeah, no, and again, thank you so much for having me. Like, it's an honor. Like, it's dead ass like the coolest thing I've ever done, which is be able just to sit here and talk and, you know, have an open discussion, an honest discussion about, you know, not only things that are going on around the world, but also, you know, very personal things that have happened to me. And I hope that if anybody listens to this, they take away the fact that if things as horrible as the shit that has happened to me have happened to me, and thank God I'm still here, you know, hopefully somebody can listen to this and be like, hey, if she can do it, I can do it too. So.
Facts.
That's why we always say, if there's something in the comments that you need to please say, that's why we say, feel free to comment. Like I said, this might be our most viewed show yet. We'll see once we put it on the YouTube page, which again, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do subscribe.
And
This has
follow
been
me
a very
on
long.
follow me on Instagram at It's Kaya Kelly.
Go ahead, put it out there.
It's
ahead, put it out there.
ITS
See?
Kaya Kaya Kelly KELLI, all together, no spaces, and you'll find me.
Thank you for sharing your.
On that note,
Thank you.
Thank you guys for having me.
Close us out, Deb.
no, thank you for wanting to do this. This has been a very, very unique edition of the Mizzle Dub Show. As we say goodnight at 2:33 in the morning Pacific time. He is Mizzle, he is Dub, and our very special guest
on the show.
Yeah, I did doze off.
That was my asshole.
Yeah, because he likes to be the greatest asshole in the world. But we thank you for tuning in. Thank you to our special guest, Ms. Kaya Kelly, for telling us her story and giving us her view on what we were talking about, the whole why America doesn't value women in today's society. So
Thank you.
Again, this is not going to be easy. This is not going to be an easy stuff for some to watch. But again, this is something we want to do because it's like we're upset, we're frustrated. How do you go about talking about it? Well,
Here
we
it
have
is.
special guests to talk about it. So thank you again. Thank you for watching the show. And well, we ran out of drink, but as we always say on the show,
want a part two. Leave in the comments if you want a part two.
Yes.
Leave in the comments.
See, self-promotion. But as we always say in conclusion, damn it, it is 5 o'clock some damn where. For our special guest, Ms. Kaya Kelly, for Mizzle, I'm Dub. We say good night, America.
Good night. Peace.